The Ice Age Trail is a 1,000-mile-long hiking trail throughout Wisconsin, from Polk County on the Minnesota border to Door County on Lake Michigan. It follows the end of that last great glacier called the Wisconsin Glacier. A few billion years ago, Wisconsin was a series of volcanoes rising from the sea. We can still see their remains in the middle of the state. When the mountains crumbled, sedimentary rocks were carried by wind and by water. 2 million years ago, at the beginning of the Ice Age, the Earth grew colder. Over long periods of extra cold climate, 1/3 of the Earth accumulated more snow than would melt away in short summers. Year after year, remains of one year's snowfall piled upon another. As the snow and ice thickened, they reached a point where they began to move and became glacial ice. About 70,000 years ago, the Wisconsin Glacier started. An advancing glacier pried up bedrock, froze onto anything loose, scratched the surfaces over which it passed, and polished rock surfaces with fine clay and sand. Material dropped by the glacier filled in low spots, while glacial erosion scraped and polished hilltops. The accumulation of these glacial debris, soil, and rock are called moraines. Glaciers indeed acted much like a conveyor belt. Wisconsin's moraines, up to 300 feet, are considered among the most impressive in North America. Terminal moraines mark the maximum advance of the glacier. The Ice Age Trail traces the path of the terminal moraines in Wisconsin. Drumlins are streamlined, whale-shaped hills that are formed under the weight of the ice. They are commonly seen in North America. A field of 1,400 drumlins lies in the Milwaukee-Madison-Campbell Sport Triangle. Erratic are rocks carried by glacial ice, often distances of hundreds of miles. Erratic can range in size from pebbles to large boulders. Glaciers are also responsible for most of the 14,000 lakes we have in Wisconsin. These lakes were formed when large blocks of ice broke off from the glacier. They were probably buried in the ground for a long time. About 10,000 years ago, the Ice Age ended because the Earth warmed. Several tree species appeared, spruce and fir being dominant, along with alder, birch, and beech. The Ice Age Trail was born from the dream of Ray Zillmer, a Milwaukee attorney and avid outdoor adventurer, to preserve Wisconsin's geological and natural history. In 1958, when the Midwest had few national parks, he proposed a 1,000-mile-long Wisconsin Glacier National Forest Park that would both preserve the effects of continental glaciations and bring the joys of outdoors to the nearby millions. He emphasized the need to make nature more accessible to those who need it most, working Americans in the nation's heartland. He thought driving long distances to get in touch with nature was a waste of time and energy. In the same year, Zillmer also founded the Ice Age Park and Trail Foundation to gain political and financial support among the general public. Ray Zillmer died in 1960 before his dream came true. The real legislative father of the Ice Age Trail was Representative Henry Royce, who passed away in 2002. The initial law setting up the Ice Age National Scientific Reserve was signed on October 13, 1964. In 1968, Congress approved the National Trail System Act, which recognized the Appalachia Trail and the Pacific Crest Trail as the first two national scenic trails in the system and established a legal structure for developing other trails throughout the country. Eventually, in 1980, thanks to the persistence of Royce, Congress designated the Ice Age Trail a part of the National Scenic Trails System. In 1987, Wisconsin legislature enacted a law providing that the Ice Age National Scenic Trail should also be the Ice Age State Scenic Trail. Matching funds for acquisition of trail by volunteer Ice Age groups were shortly provided. In 1989, the Wisconsin Stewardship Program helped the Ice Age Trail to make a great leap forward. That program provides funding for a variety of conservation projects. The Ice Age Trail was intended to be a citizen government partnership. For the last 3 decades, volunteers have been planning, laying out, constructing, and maintaining the trail. By mid-1990, 1/4 of the trail had been officially certified by the National Park Service. The trail that would run along is the product of a citizens group that bears the name Ice Age Park and Trail Foundation, which was renamed as Ice Age Trail Alliance.
The people that are involved are almost all volunteers. There are about 6 or 7 paid staffers called the Ice Age Trail Alliance. Their headquarters is in Cross Plains, just outside of Madison. But the rest of the people that build it, hundreds and hundreds of people, are all volunteers. People like myself that have other jobs and work mostly on the weekends to come out and clear brush and build trail.
500 miles of the trail has finished, and there are 500 miles of trail yet to be built.
Well, the trail is only about half complete right now. About 500 or 600 miles are available for hiking on the ground. You can see some of it right behind us here. But the other 500 or 600 miles aren't finished yet. And we're working very hard. We build about 5 or 10 miles a year. So it's going to take a long time to finish the rest of it.
That's prickly ash. No. Go ahead and cut it. Although when you get right now, and the birds like to eat their berries in the fall. Now there's a whole lot of hybrid cranberry out here, but you know, it's hard to identify.
Without Zillmer and the tireless work of thousands of volunteers since the group's inception 50 years ago, there would be no Ice Age Trail.
The Alliance is actually about 50 years old. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary last year. It's a group of people that originally just wanted to see good hiking trails preserved in Wisconsin. And it's developed over the years into it has a large board of directors. I think it's 26 or 30 statewide chapters in many, many counties, every county that the trail goes through. And like I said, hundreds of volunteers and about 6 or 7 paid staffers. So it's a large organization.
Here we have to come back and review it for a few years, and then it'll be stabilized. And then maybe once every 3 years we have to go and work it again. But this is extraordinary. This is a complete mess that's been allowed to grow, and so what we're doing right now is clearing all the invasives out so we can see where to put the trail. We can't even tell where we want the trail without eliminating a lot of the invasives. But what we've got here is a really nice feature with a little flat area, and so we're going to hopefully route it near here somewhere.
Constructing a 1,000-mile trail has proved immensely complicated and spans generations.
Our main efforts are to try to build the trail, every year. There are usually 5 or 6 big outings, 4-day weekends every year where people gather from across the state. to try to help build the trail. These are called mobile skills crew, and usually we get a mile or two of the trail built at each of these outings. And then individual activities like we're doing here today. There's 10 or 11 people here today that are clearing brush to help build the trail.
To create the Ice Age Trail, land must be acquired from willing private landowners or agreements made with local, county, state, and federal governments.
It's fundamentally a collaborative or partnership project between the National Park Service, which administers the trail, the state of Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, which does a lot of the land acquisition to acquire rights-of-way for the Ice Age Trail, and manages significant land holdings like the Kettle Moraine State Forest and Devil's Lake State Park, places like that. And here in Dane County, the Dane County Parks Department, which, like this particular parcel property that we're on right now, has been acquiring land for the Ice Age Trail to link, particularly here, to link between Fesky County Park down near Cross Plains to the south and Indian Lake County Park to the north, a few miles north of here, and have the trail be continuous between those two county parks.
Ice Age Trail volunteers also restore and manage prairies and savannas.
Today we planted about 5 acres of this field that you see, which was in soybeans this year, but we planted it with about 60 species of native tallgrass prairie, wildflowers and grasses. This is all part of a piece of land that the Dane County Parks Department purchased about 10 years ago for the Ice Age National Scenic Trail, and we've been slowly converting the agricultural land back into the kind of native tallgrass prairie that was growing here 150 years ago when Wisconsin became a state. It's been in agriculture for the last 150 years, and we're going back to where it was for thousands of years before that. We had volunteers today from Sierra Club, from the Wisconsin Hoofers, from the Dane County Ice Age Trail chapter, and we were spreading seeds that have been collected by school children from the Madison area and retired people, and cleaned and processed by volunteers from the Dane County Parks Department. Like the Native Americans, to manage the prairie and to help nurture it, we do burn pretty much every year for a few years, burn it in the spring. After about 2 years of first couple years of growth, we will burn the grasses and the forbs, the wildflowers, pretty much every year for maybe the first 8 to 10 years, so they get really well established. The burning, it turns out, really stimulates the prairie, native prairie species. In fact, I guess over the centuries, they've evolved to actually require fire as a way of helping them. In some ways, it spreads, you know, it burns up and spreads the nutrients that are otherwise locked up in the stalks of the plants back into the soil, but also by being black in the early spring, that black surface absorbs more heat from the sun, which stimulates the growth of the plants. So it's a symbiotic cycle, I guess, is what you might say. We help by restoring some of this native habitat to help maintain or increase the biodiversity of species here in southern Wisconsin. And we're basically providing a really scenic and attractive experience for people who will be walking on the trail. And then thirdly, on a ridge like this, by keeping it open to open grassland means that we keep the vistas, the long views to, for instance, to Blue Mound off to the southwest and to the Baraboo Hills to the north. Something that you don't get through many parts of the trail, particularly in northern Wisconsin, where you're in woods or forest most of the time. So I guess I like to think of it as The Ice Age is a national scenic trail, and we're helping to ensure that it really is scenic.
The trail, it's mainly a hiking trail, so the main idea is that people will walk or hike from one point to another. Many people, however, like walking their dog on the trail. You're allowed to ski on the trail. No bike riding or motorized vehicles, so you can't ride a snowmobile or a four-wheeler, but you can hike and go with your dog.
Walking, hiking, backpacking, and snowshoeing are popular on the Ice Age Trail, as it offers a wide range of distances and landscapes. Spring and fall are the best times for bug-free hiking. Many segments support cross-country skiing. The biking trail closely parallels the Ice Age National Scenic Trail all the way, thus providing the biker with easy access to all the sights of the hiking trail. Constructing a 1,000-mile trail has proved immensely complicated and spans generations.